Yeah, this I wanted to ask a little bit about the current situation, the geopolitical situation with Alba, and the new threats and the attacks, from the Trump administration on not just the Bolivarian Revolution, but Latin America in general, and where you see or where people are kind of seeing Bolivia and playing an important role, and what role can international solidarity with this revolutionary process in Bolivia play in help securing and protect this. I think Sina wants to play a video of the assassination attempt that he sent real quick. Why don't you play that, Sina, and I'll ask the question. I'll rephrase the question to Camilla.
Avanza, dale mapache volando, volando. No puede ser, a las llantas van a disparar. ¡Se van a cerrar las caras! Están disparando. ¡Pero si le han disparado al mapache! No pasa nada. Si estás mal, yo lo voy a dar. Si estás mal, yo lo voy a dar. Mapache. Ay, no. ¿Dónde te han dado? No sé. Ya, tranquilo. Mi cabeza, mi cabeza. Sí, en tu cabeza le han dado. Dale, abuelo, tú. No podemos cambiar. ¿Dónde está bien, ¿verdad? No, no. Dejado atrás.
Can you maybe just describe what we just watched, and that scene?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of context and information to that because I lived there and I know where it took place and everything like that. An assassination attempt or some effort to try to capture Evo Morales and take him to La Paz, took place, and maybe it went wrong, and that's why they started shooting at the car, at the windshield, even injuring the driver. And the story of the government just really doesn't add up in any way. And what Evo has concluded is that this was some sort of effort to capture him carried out by government intelligence. Behind it would be the interior minister, and that the government is trying to say that it was some sort of almost either a routine traffic stop or an attempt to, make a seizure of something having to do with, an anti-narco operation. But they're saying all sorts of things. It has never made sense, but also this area, this rural area has very specific checkpoints. Like the whole country has very specific checkpoints that you go through, police, military, and there's no operation there. That was a very irregular thing that took place. And then the perpetrators or the people who were involved in that, they went and hid in the barracks of the security forces, and then they were airlifted out. They were protected. There's been no real investigation into it. It's just completely absurd. No one even tries to make excuses for that happening. And so, Evo knows that he has to be very careful. And there have been a number of other incidents as well in which some of the social leaders have been killed or attacked very recently, which is very scary for them. And of course, added to the political prisoners and everything else, the repression that they faced, they are very, right now, they're very aware and careful with what they do. But I think it needed to have been a wake-up call. I can't say that it was a wake-up call, but it needed to have been a wake-up call, I would say, for Friends of Bolivia and for people who support this movement. Because there has been a really strong pressure for people to remain neutral and to not support, either the government or not support Evo Morales and the social movements that support him, because they don't want to be, outside actors, whether they be social movements around South America or whoever it is. They don't want to be part of the division or the fracturing, and they just want to support everything. I mean, that's not particularly helpful to me. I see Evo Morales and the leaders around him, among them, Adriana Salvatierra. She's from Santa Cruz. She was a former senator persecuted during the coup. Teresa Morales. She was a former congressperson. All these people as being really important leaders for the social movements in Latin America in general. But also, we have really lacked leadership in our region against, leadership that can face against, rising fascism, against the different ways that imperialism has manifested and is attacking the people and our countries. And, one of the most important leaders is Nicolas Maduro. And another most important leader, I think I see Nicolas Maduro as someone who is leading governments. He's at the head of ALBA TCP. He is leading the fight against fascism worldwide, bringing people together from Africa, Europe, Asia, Latin America, and even North America together to see how we can confront fascism together. But Evo Morales truly is a leader for Indigenous people and social movements still today. And when all of these different things have happened, in Ukraine, the proxy war against Russia, with Gaza and everything else, it's Evo who has had a really sharp and rapid response to these things in terms of putting out ideas and making sure that we're all on the same page about what's taking place. But what is unique to Evo is that he is someone who has spoken extensively about protecting our natural resources. In the case of Bolivia, that's largely lithium and energy resources and the biodiversity that exists in the country. And he has said, as have all the people who attended this Congress, that in order to protect the Bolivian people and their rights and ensure prosperity in the future and guarantee a future for the next generations, that they have to be able to reserve the right to exploit their own natural resources and be able to use their resources to benefit the people of the country, to invest, to make public investment, and make sure that those earnings are used for things that improve the lives of the people of Bolivia, so that money is not that those resources aren't extracted from the country, and the money extracted as well by these transnational corporations and these wealthy individuals, and just which would be the continuation of the ransacking and looting that we've seen for hundreds of years from our countries. And basically Evo has a way of tying everything that takes place to the ransacking of our countries and our lands. But it's true. And you can see, like, Bolivia is a prime example of that. Argentina is another example of that. You can see why they want to have certain leaders in power, because they know that they're going to sign over the rights to all of the resources of the country to foreign companies for them to come and do whatever they want at a very low price, actually. And the people of this land get nothing in return. And so I think that's a very important perspective that Evo has. That he has given us, is that he's saying, like, things are changing in the world. We don't know how long our civilization is going to last or whatever, but we have to ensure things for our people, and we have to do that by protecting our lands and by ensuring the sovereignty of our countries and our resources. And so I really think that it's time for people to wake up and see that this is a very important leader who's under attack, who has lent a lot to I think even the thinking of social movements and leftist parties, in every country, everyone has a different way of, characterizing the left. In some countries, it's really important that they talk about themselves as communists, or socialist revolution, or socialist project, whatever. In Bolivia, it is a socialist project. That's why they call it the movement towards socialism. That was the name of the former political instrument, and they do believe in socialism, but it is largely, the sort of what characterizes the movement is more of like of an understanding of and perspective of being indigenous and protecting the land and protecting your culture and heritage, and along with that, embracing the communitarian model and socialism and all of that. So it's a lot of different aspects. But I think it's important to say that, the movement that Evo's a part of, as well as the strong indigenous movement in Ecuador and in Peru, that they have like a sort of different approach to things. So we call them the left just to be able to simplify things, because they're certainly not right wing. But it is, they have that perspective of, we have experienced genocide, we have been wiped out, we've been dispossessed, we've been displaced, and it's a process which continues. And the only thing that has brought us dignity and has prevented this from deepening is the fact that we've been able to continue struggling. And in some sense, in the case of Bolivia, they actually were able to take state power. In the case of Ecuador, they do have some indigenous people representing in government in different forms. And so that's what we're talking about here. Like these are large communities of indigenous people who are continuing to fight back as, imperialism progresses, and as, war breaks out and conflict in different parts of the world. They're still trying to hold it down here, and they've been in many ways successful. It's very impressive, and it just has so many lessons to teach us.